Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Skye and I'm a first-time mum to a beautiful baby girl. Throughout my channel, I talk about all things motherhood, so pregnancy, labour, birth, postpartum, and everything else in between. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about postpartum, also known as the fourth trimester. Most women, and especially first-time mums, we put in so much time and energy and research into labour and birth. However, we do tend to forget about postpartum. Now, it is called the fourth trimester for a reason because it is just as important as all the others, if not more. So I do think that more, emphasis needs to be put on our postpartum recovery. Now, in saying that, I also do believe, having been through it myself, that no matter how much research you put into finding out about postpartum, until you're actually going through it, nothing's really ever gonna fully prepare you. But I do believe that it will help. Now, speaking from experience, I put in so much time and research into labour and birth. However, I didn't put as much into postpartum. But I do think that if I had watched a video like this, that it would have helped me in my postpartum journey. Tip number one, and that would be to book a lactation consultant for the day after you get home from the hospital. So depending on your situation, you might spend one day in the hospital, you might spend 5, but either way, I do truly believe that this would have been a significant difference in my breastfeeding journey if I had had a lactation consultant come out on sort of day 2 once I got home from the hospital. So I actually went home after 4 hours, which is really soon. I am aware of that now. And look, I had my midwives coming out and helping me, and they were absolutely incredible. But I do think the lactation consultants have a lot more knowledge and experience specifically to breastfeeding, and I do think it would have contributed into helping me through my journey. You're so tired, you're emotional, you're hormonal, you're not exactly thinking straight, and while you think you might be prepared to go through breastfeeding, you might have done a course like what I did and you're feeling quite confident, things do come up and it's not as easy as what you think it might be. So I highly recommend booking a lactation consultant if you can. If you're in the hospital, I would just suggest asking to speak to someone and asking the lactation consultant to come to you as regularly as they can, so that when you do go home, you're feeling super equipped and confident to continue your breastfeeding journey. The next thing, and that is, I believe it's actually called a lying down period. Now, this is going to look different to everyone, but for me, I tried as much as I could for the first 4 weeks to have bonding time with my daughter. I was not going out the house. I wasn't going down to a cafe or a beach or shopping or doing all those things. I stayed at home and just bonded with my daughter. We had skin to skin. I would stare into her eyes. I would just connect with her. And honestly, it was the best thing I ever did. You need to take this time for your body to heal and just to connect with your baby. You've just given birth. Your baby's just spent 9 months in your body. Your baby doesn't want to be out and about having cuddles from everyone else and, getting in the car, being dressed, all of that. Just take this time to really just take it slow. It's only 4 weeks, or depending on how long you want to do it for. For me, it was around 4 to 5 weeks that I really just stayed at home. Now, I truly believe that the beginning of your baby's life plays a pivotal role in their overall being. And I highly, highly recommend that if you can, take the time to just connect and bond with your baby. Now, of course, this is going to look different for everyone. For me, I'm a first-time mum. I don't have another child that I'm looking after. And that was another reason why I just wanted to take those first few weeks really, really slow, because I'm never going to be able to do that again. If I'm fortunate enough to have another baby, I'll have my daughter who I'm going to be chasing around the house as well. So I know I'm not going to be able to do that again. So I just tried to make the most of it and spend that quality time with my daughter. During that time, I didn't have a lot of visitors. We still had some people coming over, some family and friends, but I tried to keep it to a minimum. Next thing, and that is to have some food prepped. I personally did it and I regret it so much. There was so many times of an afternoon where my partner Jared was going down to the shops to get food for dinner because we hadn't had anything organized. Now, a lot of people say that the baby just sleeps those first few weeks, so in my head, I thought I would have all this time to, have dinners and lunch and things like that, but I was so wrong. So don't make my mistake. Try to get a freezer stash prepared if you can. And if you are having visitors popping over, I would suggest to ask them to bring a meal with them, whether that be lunch or dinner. Doesn't matter what it is, but food is your friend and it will be your lifesaver in those early weeks. The next thing, and that is you don't have to do it all. Regardless what you see, regardless if you see other mums out and about going to a cafe, going down to the beach, going to the shops, going for walks, whatever that looks like for them, that's fine, that's great for them, but don't feel like that you need to do it all, especially in those early weeks. You are exhausted. I can't even explain it, and until you go through it, you won't actually really understand what it's like to feel the way you do postpartum. But you are so tired, you are emotional, you are hormonal, and you don't want to be out and about doing things. So don't feel like that you need to do it all. On top of feeling the way that you're feeling, you also have this added kind of stress and kind of anxiety, really worrying about your supply. Is my baby okay? You just can't help but worry. You love this little person more than life in itself, and you just can't help but worry about them. So I think for me, the best place for me was to be at home with my baby and my partner and just taking it really slow. The next thing is to trust your instinct. It will never let you down. If something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. So ask questions. If you think something is right, but someone might be telling you that something is wrong, do your own research, find out more information, but number one thing is to trust your instinct. That brings me on to my next thing, and that is to ask questions and ask for help from a friend, a midwife, a doctor, a mum, a partner, whoever it is, but ask for help because you are going to need it. People want to help you. You're not being a burden. Now is the perfect time to ask for help because everyone is so understanding. So don't be afraid to ask for help. They say it takes a village, so make sure you do. And make sure that you're honest with those who are around you. It is okay to not be okay at this point in time. You are so emotional, hormonal, tired, exhausted. You're all the feels right now. So it's okay to admit that you're not okay. If you've made plans for someone to come over and you're not feeling up to it, just cancel it. It's okay to cancel. It's okay to last minute change plans when you are in your 4th trimester and recovering post giving birth. Another thing that is so pivotal and so important, and that is when people are visiting, remember that you're not hosting. This isn't a time for you to put on coffee and tea and have morning tea or lunch or whatever it is prepared. That is not the point of the visit. When people visit, they are the ones who are there to support you, whether that be doing your washing, unstacking the dishwasher, vacuuming the floors, cooking you a meal, whatever it might be. They are there to support you. You are not hosting at this time. And as well, if you are having visitors, an hour and a half at the most is all you want. You are so exhausted, and I don't know what it is, but usually when you have a visitor over, the baby tends to sleep. So that's great because it's a nice, calm, peaceful catch up or visit. But then as soon as your visitors leave, usually the baby wakes up and then, that process begins again. So my advice is to, if you are going to have visitors, only allow them to stay for a maximum of an hour and a half because you're not going to want to feel like any more time having people over anyway. If you have a support person or partner or someone at home with you, remember it is their job to cook, to clean, and to look after the house and to look after you. You have one extremely important and time-consuming and exhausting job, and that is to look after your baby. You do not need to be doing anything else other than looking after your baby and resting. In terms of how the mum is feeling, look, I'm going to be completely honest, and you really do feel pretty isolated. You think to yourself, is this how it's going to be forever? And look, I know that it sounds horrible, but it is true. But I can tell you, you're not going to feel like this forever. It is so hard at the beginning. You think, what have I done? But honestly, it gets better and better and better as the time goes on. But it's okay to feel like that in this moment. It's such a crazy time because you are so in love with your baby. Like a love, you honestly cannot describe it. You would do anything for them. They're just so precious and beautiful, and their smell is just unbelievable. But it's also one of the hardest times of your life mentally and physically. Now, look, postpartum anxiety is something that is really common, and I'm not really sure where the line is between sort of, just your normal anxiety, worrying about your baby because you care and love them so much, or if it is sort of postnatal anxiety. Now, I personally, prior to having my daughter, I never really experienced anxiety before, but as soon as my daughter was born, I just got this overwhelming sense of anxiety and just worry. I was just so worried about my supply and worried about my daughter, making sure she was okay. And I would just be sitting on the couch sometimes. Nothing had happened. My daughter was, peacefully either asleep or awake. And I'd just be sitting there crying and not knowing why. And I didn't know how to handle it because I'd never felt like this before. This is all normal. It is your hormones. It is postpartum. It is all part of it. But when you're in the thick of it, it's hard, it's easy, to think that there's something wrong. I was honest with the people around me, with my partner, with my mum, with my midwives. I was honest saying, this is how I'm feeling. And the more that I spoke about it and they reassured me that it's okay to feel like this, it's okay to have these thoughts, it made me realize that, I wasn't going mad. It was just in the moment, my hormones, this is how I felt. But to make sure as well that I wasn't being like this and having these thoughts long term, it was just those couple of weeks postpartum that I was really feeling like this. Another thing to remember, and that it is okay to cry. Let it out, let the tears out. You feel so much better for it, but it's okay to cry. Do not shut your feelings away. Your feelings are valid, so make sure you let it out. It is okay for your baby to be on you and want to be on you 24/7. It is in their biological DNA of how they are made up. They want to be carried. They want to be on you. So it is okay for them to want to be on you all the time. Now, that is a huge change because you've gone from potentially being on your own if you are a first-time mum, not having anyone dependent on you, and then all of a sudden you are having this baby who wants to be on you 24/7, and it can feel a little suffocating. But just remember that it is not going to be like this forever, and soak up those newborn cuddles because the time goes so quickly. The other thing is you cannot spoil a newborn. Cuddle them, kiss them, sleep with them on you, have skin to skin, stare in their eyes while they're feeding, whether that be bottle or boob. Have that connection with them. Your baby wants to be loved and connected and feel safe. Remember, postpartum and motherhood is a huge transition for us and for baby, and we learn as we go. Be kind to yourself, ask for help, take it slow because this time goes by so quickly and you don't want to look back and feel as though you rushed it. because you are never gonna get that time back again. I hope some of the things that I've said throughout this video is going to help you through your postpartum journey. I really do think that if I had watched a video like this prior to falling pregnant and giving birth, that it really would have helped me through my postpartum experience. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.